R. Kelly's supplemental sentencing memorandum has been unsealed and made viewable to the public as of today. And I've been reading through it, and I wanted to talk about a few of the highlights and a few of the things that I noticed. Um, One of the main things is that, and the most important thing I believe, is that Dr. Park Dietz. I don't know how you say the last name, but it's Dietz. That's how you spell the last name. The doctor, who is one of the biggest psychiatrists in America, has declared that R. Kelly is not a pedophile. Said that R. Kelly is not attracted to prepubescent individuals. So he's not a pedophile, which is what we have been screaming this entire time. But now we have a psychiatrist who has spent tons of hours with him and spoken to him and his family extensively. And she has concluded that there is no pedophilia in R. Kelly's nature. He does not desire children. He does not want to have sex with little children. And to me, that's the biggest victory in this entire thing. I've always known R. Kelly is not a pedophile, because if he was a pedophile, why would these chicks have to lie about their ages to get with him? They could simply tell him their real age and he would be happy to have sex with them. They repeatedly lied about their ages and gave him fake IDs. So that proves that he's not a pedophile, but that's not going to shut down the chatter. People are still going to drag his name through the mud. But the only thing I'm concerned about is sentencing tomorrow, and will Judge Donnelly be fair, or will she throw the book at him just to throw the book at him? R. Kelly has an uphill battle tomorrow. We're dealing with a judge who does not like him. We're dealing with a judge who allowed all types of prejudicial evidence to be shown to the jury, while not allowing R. Kelly to bring in his evidence against the parents and subpoena the parents and show things that could help him, give the jury reasonable doubt. They really tied his hands behind his back. But we got to keep praying, y'all. We got to keep praying. After tomorrow, we're out of Judge Donnelly's courtroom. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Joycelyn wrote a letter of support to ask the judge for leniency. And I know in the past I've said Joycelyn might flip, or Joycelyn going to flip, because I saw what other people were doing and I didn't trust her. And I never fully gave her the benefit of the doubt, because I believed that she would stab him in the back and do something to jeopardize his case. But after reading that letter today, I have to say that Joycelyn is a stand-up chick. She's a stand-up chick, and I think she really cares about R. Kelly. I don't know if she's going to go to the sentencing tomorrow and take the stand and say what she said in the letter. But the fact that she had the entire world against her, calling her brainwashed, saying that it was impossible for her to be in love with R. Kelly, saying it was impossible for her to be there of her own free will, her parents lying about her and saying she was kidnapped, couldn't bathe, couldn't eat, her pussy stank, saying all these different things about her. And she still stood firm despite all of that pressure, and she did not fold. Wow. I gotta give credit where credit is due. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Everybody else folded, but Joycelyn stayed in there, and she's supporting him. So I would like to say, I apologize, Joycelyn. I was wrong. If she ever see this video, she can hear me say that I apologize. You clearly not planning to set Rob up. You clearly want to see R. Kelly free. And you clearly are not going to sabotage his case in Chicago. Let me read this letter that Joycelyn sent in really quickly. It says, Dear Honorable Judge Ann Donnelly, thank you for the opportunity to share my experiences with Robert Kelly. My name is Joycelyn Savage, and I'm Robert Kelly's fiance. I'm writing this letter in support of Robert in advance of his sentencing so I can explain to the court that I'm not the victim that the government has portrayed me to be. My relationship with Robert is amazing. He is the best thing that's ever happened to me. We have a very special connection and are deeply in love. I still support Robert to this day because I love him and will always be here to support him. Robert is not the monster that the government has described him to be. The Robert I know is very sweet, gentle, and kind. At the end of the day, he has always made sure that I'm taken care of, and any other woman he was with as well. Robert's an all-around incredible person. He loves his music and is very passionate about that. He's positive, outgoing, and very generous. He always takes any opportunity he can to help those in need. He's very determined and focused on his goals, and the things that have been said about him with me and other women being held against our will is absolutely untrue. It's the complete opposite of who he is and what my relationship is like with Robert. Robert and I are deeply in love, and it breaks my heart that the government has created a narrative that I'm a victim. I'm a grown woman and can speak for myself, which is why I wanted to provide this letter to the court. I respectfully ask that the court take my words into consideration when sentencing Robert. He's a great man with a great heart and deserves to be home with his loved ones who are ready to support him. Thank you for reading this letter. Joycelyn Savage. I think that was so amazing. I think it was short, sweet, to the point. She denied being a victim. She declared her love. And she denied, again for the millionth time, being held against her will. So shout out to Joycelyn Savage. Diana Copeland also wrote a letter. Keith, R. Kelly's best friend Keith, also wrote a letter. Lindsay Perriman Dunn wrote a letter. And who else wrote a letter? Oh, yeah, Julius wrote a letter of support. Tomorrow, Bruce Kelly will be testifying on his brother's behalf at the sentencing and asking for leniency. I don't know if Joycelyn's going to be there, like I said, to ask for leniency in person. But no matter what happens, y'all, I have R. Kelly's back, and I'm supporting him. I'm rocking with him. And the next step is the Supreme Court. You know, when we get out of Judge Donnelly's courtroom tomorrow, it's over with her. We don't have to deal with her biased ass. We're going to be dealing with the Supreme Court, and they're going to overturn the verdict based on the fact that R. Kelly is not a criminal enterprise. He's not a criminal enterprise, and he did not violate the Mann Act. The parents violated the Mann Act. The parents encouraged their daughters to have sex with him. The parents encouraged their daughters to lie about their age. R. Kelly has done 3 years in jail. The parents, especially Angelo Clary and Alice Clary, have not served 1 day. So, at the end of the day, all I gotta say is free R. Kelly. Free R. Kelly, free R. Kelly. Oh, one more thing. One of the accusers, they didn't say who, wrote a letter to R. Kelly apologizing for testifying against him and for saying negative things about him. She was forced to testify, and her hands were tied. The government forced her to testify. So I don't know when R. Kelly received that letter. I think it was in February. So I guess we'll find out tomorrow at sentencing who sent that letter asking for R. Kelly's forgiveness. I think it's Hallie Calhoun. I think it's Hallie Calhoun because I don't think she wanted to testify. She probably was forced to testify. Azriel was so gleeful to testify, and she would have never admit that she's wrong. So I know she didn't send the letter. I don't think Geronda sent it either. So I think it was Hallie. And he wasn't charged with Hallie. So Hallie was probably the one who sent the letter apologizing for testifying against him. But anyway, continue to pray for R. Kelly. It's out of our hands. We have no control over what's happening tomorrow. But like I said, it's always going to be fuck the feds on my end. It's always going to be free R. Kelly on my end. It's always going to be lock up them nasty parents. And it's also going to be fuck them nasty hoes. And fuck anybody who don't like R. Kelly.